Hello, my little piggies. Welcome to I Am a Bit of an Expert, a Peppa Pig podcast. I'm your host, Josh Chapman. And joining me, feels like we haven't spoken in ages, is the other side of the show, the other co-host, Matt Frost. How you doing, mate?
I'm very good, thanks, Josh. How are you?
I'm doing good. A bit of background. I've been on an overseas little holiday, and I go away for a couple of weeks. And while I'm away, you go viral, basically.
Yeah. Yeah.
Matt became, I don't know if you know this, but Matt became an overnight internet sensation, not because of the Peppa Pig podcast. We thought that's what it was, but he told a fantastic family anecdote. I won't, you can look him up on his Twitter if you want to read exactly what it was, but you kind of put this little story down last night and went to bed and then woke up and all hell had broken loose.
Yeah, it's a bit overwhelming, actually. It's not really my thing. So,
like this is what Taylor Swift feels like when she leaves a tweet.
Yeah. And I'm not really cut out for it very much. I sort of much more prefer to talk to one or two people at a time. So yeah,
about Peppa Pig.
Yeah, about Peppa Pig. Yeah, so
so hoping that we can cash in on Matt's new internet fame and promote the podcast. But he's looking a little bit embarrassed. But I couldn't not bring it up, basically. But we're actually we're not here to talk about viral sensations. We're here to talk about Easter, and Easter we've just passed it. So this is going to come out just past Easter, but we love when we have the special eps. We couldn't pass it up, could we?
No, and let's be real. I'm sure there'll be plenty of chocolate in everyone's house when you're listening to this. So
yeah, it certainly is at our house. I got back from I've been overseas for 2 weeks at Star Wars Celebration. If people listen to this, might know that I also do a Star Wars podcast, and you're a big Star Wars guy too. Unfortunately, you couldn't make it, but some of our friends were there, so I was overseas for that. And I arrived, got back from my flight sort of 8 a.m. Sunday morning, and just in time for the Easter egg hunt at our house. So I timed it very well. The Easter bunny had shown up, and it was dropped the suitcase and straight into the backyard.
Nicely done. I did see a lovely picture of Olive on her hunt. It was very cute.
Yeah, she had a pretty keen eye for it. She was pretty excited, and it was all about sort of regulating the intake after that.
Yeah, and since, I'd imagine.
Yeah, that's right. Well, it's good to have a little bit of leverage as well. Like if you you put your jammies on and eat your dinner and all that kind of stuff. But so we're talking Easter Bunny, and what goes down in Easter Bunny?
It's a pretty interesting episode in that it shows a house we haven't seen before. So it's set at Mr. and Mrs. Rabbit's house. Rebecca's.
Now it's Mrs. Rabbit.
Yeah, Mr. and Mrs. Rabbit. Yeah, not Miss
Rabbit.
Not
to be confused with Miss Rabbit. And obviously we've jumped forward in time here. I'm not sure exactly when this one is, but I think it's pretty. Well, Wendy Wolf is in here, so it must be reasonably recent because she's a pretty new addition. But we see the Rabbit household.
Yeah, and so for those not familiar, Mrs. Rabbit and Miss Rabbit are twins. They're twin sisters, and so
I wonder if that's all of them, because rabbits, tend to breed like rabbits, as they say.
True.
I wonder if it is just the two sisters, or you kind of throw the thing a bit further, and that there's 8 or 9 of them, or
yeah, well, perhaps they have moved to other localities and boroughs around the district, and it's just the two twins that are here. So
well, that was always the theory early on, that because Miss Rabbit actually turned up everywhere and was working all these jobs, that there was actually 20 of them. They were all from they're all from the same litter, so to speak, but they're all just actually doing different jobs as just a different rabbit. That they all sound the same, but we've established that it is the Miss Rabbit who does all the jobs, and Mrs. Rabbit who has the kids.
Yes, that's right. She's a mum, which is just as big a job, but Miss Rabbit's the insane workaholic.
That's right. So yeah, we go to now the thing that is funny about this is that all the kids come around for the Easter egg hunt, and they don't seem like they've really prepared very well.
No, there's
It's almost like they've had it sprung on them.
yeah. I think look, is it it's a little bit of they just assume that Mr. and Mrs. Rabbit know all about Easter, and the kids have just gone there. Like, is that being a little bit stereotypical?
Yeah, I'm not too sure because they're just kind of there, and Mrs. Rabbit's a bit like, oh yeah, well the Easter egg hunt's coming. Here we go. It's not like they've all gone, we want to go on a hunt. Let's go to the rabbit's house because the rabbits are all about Easter. So considering I think that they knew it was coming, they seem a little bit disorganized, and then it's one of those episodes, especially in the later ones, there's a little sort of wink to the mummies and daddies where they realize they've been caught out and they have to try and organize this Easter egg hunt without the kids figuring out what's going on.
Yeah, it just seemed a little bit like just a bunch of people rocking up to the Irish family's place on St. Patrick's Day and expecting to be given a heap of Guinness.
Yeah, that's true.
So yeah, I sort of really felt for them a bit, but they managed to create a good enough diversion between the two of them that they could allow the Easter Bunny, who the kids had done a bit of a artist's impression sketch of.
So they kind of Mrs. Rabbit kind of convinces the kids to go inside, and because the Easter Bunny is very shy, and then they proceed to go down into the rabbit house, and geez, they've talked about a little bit of acreage down there. It's a sprawling estate underneath the hill.
Yeah, well, they seem to have they seem to be set up to have a lot more kids than just Richard and Rebecca. So, perhaps that will play into future episodes when they have a few more.
I think they do, don't they? Don't they have twin boys or something in a later episode? Are we jumping too far ahead here in time? I don't know.
I hope so.
I feel like there are more rabbits on and they've got the space, haven't they?
Yeah, I think what are little rabbits called? Kittens, I think.
Are they?
Yeah. I think a baby rabbit's called a kitten. I feel like I've got this from a baby animals photo book that we might have in the bookshelf, but hopefully nobody's sort of screaming at me that I'm an idiot and they're called.
So we've just got the animal nuts on here. If you must be an animal lover if you listen to this, obviously. But they do the artist impressions of what they think the Easter Bunny looks at, and there's actually quite a nice moment where Pedro basically assumes that the rabbit looks like him, or a super rabbit. He even draws some Pedro glasses
and some jocks on the outside,
and some jocks on the outside, which is traditional. I don't like in these newfangled DC movies now where Superman doesn't have his jocks on the outside anymore. I don't, I'm all about keeping the jocks there. I don't know about you.
I couldn't agree with you more, Josh. Like, I can't be expected to suspend disbelief that somebody's a superhero when they've got their jocks on the inside. So
yeah, look, you can, people get upset that Batman and Superman fight and then become mates, and then both their mums have the same name, and then they get along and all that kind of nonsense. But I'll let that all pass if you can see their underpants.
That's right. Yep.
Yeah. Release the underpants cut. That's what I say. Yeah. Some people will get that. Some people won't. So anyway, the kids go and they're kind of waiting in the room, and then they start having a little peek to find out what's going on. Mrs. Rabbit comes out and says, the rabbit's very shy. You got to stay inside. And we can safely assume that Mr. Rabbit's out there putting eggs out, and then the all clear to go up.
And by that you mean the Easter Rabbit, the Easter Bunny,
the Easter Rabbit, yeah. Easter Bunny, Easter Mr. Rabbit. He says, "All right, everybody can go up there. It's one egg each, and make sure everybody gets one." So he's already playing with fire, where he's hidden his eggs on the assumption that there's only one egg per kid, and they've all got to share. I mean, that's asking for trouble. You really should be having a few more eggs to kids just in case. Which
is the way the real Easter Bunny works, and the Easter Bilby if you're listening in Australia. they make sure that there's a fair smattering of them out there for the kids to find. So, and
now I went to a Easter egg hunt. I think last year. The in-laws have a house in Torquay, which is on the surf coast in Victoria, and we went down. They had it might have been last year, might have even been the year before. I think Olive might have been a bit littler, and we went to this. It was like a winery or some sort of, or was it? It was like a winery or some sort of chocolate tier place. I don't know. It was some sort of event. They're going, we're having an Easter egg hunt. You can have an Easter egg hunt, and they basically had this sort of thing where they'd organised for kids to have an Easter egg hunt, and they basically completely underestimated the amount of kids that are going to turn up.
No.
And hundreds of kids turned up.
It's going to be like Lord of the Flies.
Yeah, so they didn't have enough eggs to go around, and they kind of had you had to find it was something else. It wasn't eggs. It was some sort of thing where you exchanged it for an egg. So that's how they kind of controlled the eggs. One per person. But they had a guy in an Easter bunny costume who was sort of there, you get your eggs from there. And I proceeded to watch this guy get very unwell in his Easter egg thing, looking like he was going to pass out in his Easter egg suit, and then kind of collapse over to the side where he had to be put onto the side of it looked like a golf cart or something like that, where he was almost like he's being stretched off the ground with an injury.
Did he have like mixed mitosis or something, did he? Or?
I don't know what had happened, but he got all woozy and looked like he was going to collapse, and they put him down on this thing, and it was this situation with all these kids around, and he couldn't take the head off, so he had to keep the head on, because you can't have the Easter bunny lifting the head off the outfit in front of all the kids. So I do have some shaky video footage somewhere of this bloke in a costume looking a bit woozy, and then being put onto a cart and sort of discreetly driven off in the other direction. So
blood coming out of his enormous ears.
Yeah, something along those lines. I mean, I was kind of theorizing that maybe he threw up inside that head, and it had gotten even worse. But
Easter bunny smells funny.
Yeah, that's right. So I seem to remember that Easter egg hunt was a bit of a shambles, that they hadn't quite, compensated for the amount of kids and things that they had.
Yeah.
But in this case, they basically had one egg per kid, and then all the Pepper and all the kids basically all managed to perfectly find one egg each. And they're bloody big eggs. They're about the size of their heads as well.
Mm. Yeah.
So that's a lot of chocolate.
It is, yeah. So I don't know how they went later on.
Yeah, they haven't really showed that bit where the kids are running up the walls in the afternoon.
Yeah. Just one more.
Yeah, just one more egg. And then you kind of get this sort of little slightly strange ending where Rebecca Rabbit kind of pops out of a bush with the last egg, and then she decides to sort of regale everybody with a little kind of Easter egg song or an Easter song.
Yeah, I'll give you the inside track that I will not be doing a cover version of this track. So yeah,
it's not exactly the Rockin' Gazelles, is it?
No. Look, I don't want to be overly critical because we do like our special episodes, but this was narratively all over the place. So
it was a little all over the shop. It was almost as disorganized as the rabbits were with their Easter egg hunt.
It's like, like experimental cinema. It just threw you straight into the middle of chaos, and you just didn't know where it was going to go.
Yeah, so it's a little bit of a funny one because, I mean, I did like the little nods to the sort of the Mr. and Mrs. Rabbit kind of having to compensate for their lack of planning, but then the whole episode seemed to be about lack of planning, really.
Yeah.
And a bit of kind of like how we fall a little bit short, so let's end with a song. You go out on a song where you haven't quite got the hard-hitting gag to finish up on.
Perhaps the lack of planning in the story was an evident of the lack of planning in the writers' room when they realised that Easter was coming up and they didn't have a special. So
yeah, I think they might have maybe it did get a little bit meta, but we've called you out.
Yeah,
Peppa Pig. And we expect this from season 1 Peppa Pig. When you're finding your feet, not not the established version. So I mean, perfectly fine. Maybe we're being a bit overly critical, but obviously it does have the whole gang, which we like, and questionable songs aside, there are a few little good bits in there that we can enjoy.
True, like Pedro drawing some jocks on the Easter Bunny was,
Yeah, we'll always take a good jocks joke any day of the week.
And we'll take as much Pedro as we can get. So
Yeah, exactly. So, not a bad little one. I think there are actually, when I was looking for this for an Easter one, I think there are about 3 or 4 other Easter ones as well. So, we can always revisit again in a year's time and have a look. Any closing thoughts on this one, mate, before we put this to bed?
yeah, I think future Easter episodes will probably do before a grueling long weekend of travel and kids and stuff like that. So we can really make it pop. But yeah.
We're sitting here criticising the writers and stuff for phoning it in. That's the theme of the episode is everybody's phoning it in on this one. But I think we pulled it out of the fire pretty solidly.
Yeah.
Anyway, unlike these guys, do we need to finish on a song? Do we?
Yeah, I think we better. Good night, my little piggies.
Yeah, we're playing a tune and we're singing a song with a bang and a bong and a bang. Bong, bang, boo, bing, bong, bing, bing, bong, bingly, bongly, boo.